Cian O'Neill joining Cork, I mean, just seems like a marriage of convenience. He's based down in Cork. He's head of the Department of Sports, Leisure and Childhood Studies at CIT. So for him, contrasting that with having to take the M7 up and down to to training in Kildare 3 or 4 times a week, I mean, logistically, it's a dream move for him. After spending 4 years with Kildare, I mean, they obviously didn't win a Leinster title. There were measures of success, getting to the Super 8 and beating Mayo along the way, the Newbridge or Nowhere thing, got the county behind him. But probably sort of measured qualified success to some degree, getting them back up there, but didn't ultimately make the breakthrough that they want. But what he's bringing to Cork, that definitely can't be underestimated. Like, he's worked with Tipperary, part of an All-Ireland winning setup there. Was part of the Kerry backroom team when they won an All-Ireland in 2014, and part of a Mayo team that pushed Dublin all the way a couple of times. I think it worked out that he was involved in 6 All-Ireland finals in 7 years or something like that between the two codes. So he's worked with the best, knows what it takes. Obviously he's come up against Dublin also, and I'm sure for Ronan McCarthy the key is getting people on board that can allow them to make those next couple of steps to play the best teams, because that's where Cork should be. Realistically, with the amount of adult teams, with the amount of players, with the tradition, there's no reason that they shouldn't be challenging for All-Ireland honours, or certainly Munster, because Kerry have been ruling the roost in Munster for the last 6 or 7 years. I suppose even just the fact that he's a bit involved with Kerry before is a help, because just even the Kerry mindset, what they're doing, if there's anything that Cork aren't doing, maybe pretty quickly he'd be able to identify it. Interesting that he's going from being the main man with Kildare for the last number of years to being the number 2, bit of a Roy Keane type switch from number 1 to number 2. Stephen Rochford, even if you're to look at the GAA side of things for that happening. Kevin Smith has been appointed as strength and conditioning coach to work under the new high performance director Aidan O'Connell, so we'll have to see how that works out. But Smith's a former S&C at Stade Francais, the rugby team, and he's completing a PhD at Cork IT, where, as I said, Cian O'Neill is, so I'm sure they'll spin out to training together. So it just shows how professional it is that you're getting someone who's worked at Stade Francais, a professional team, and now into an inter-county setup. That really tells you where GAA has gone. And like, for Smith to even be interested, I mean, I'm not sure what his living situation is, how much he wants to be in Cork, but like, for a guy to go from a professional rugby team to an inter-county team, that just really shows you the level that GAA has gone to. And it's not, I suppose it's not the only situation where an inter-county team is working with someone who's been with a professional sports team. I mean, you even see it with Mayo and Barry Solon. Then Ronan McCarthy, I suppose he's had a progressive season, no doubt about that. Relegated down to Division 3, which was a bit of a disaster. And I think actually it was kind of because Cork were hammered a little bit about that in the media and probably locally. They sort of used that as fuel, because I remember Brian Hurley, after one game when they played Laois and Thurles and bet them out the gate, he was like, getting to the Super 8, it's not bad for a Division 3 team. So yeah, they definitely probably used it as a bit of fuel. And they were quite good in the Super 8s. I know they lost at home to Roscommon in a bit of a free-for-all game when there was nothing at stake anymore. It was a dead rubber. But they did well enough against Tyrone, had themselves in a winning position at one point, pushed Dublin very, very hard for an hour. And that's a fair jump from the sort of team that lay down against Kerry for a couple of years. So Cian O'Neill with Cork, can't see a massive downside to it, can only see the positives really, assuming that everyone gels together well. And to get up to Division 2 next year, they're going to have to play Derry, Down and Tip. Those would be the tougher games. You'd imagine Leitrim, Longford, Louth and Offaly be very beatable. So based on their form and championship this year, they shouldn't be too far away. And based on their talent levels, they should definitely be pushing to get back to Division 1 very soon.